Good evening, everyone. This is Nandini. Behalf of Team Oscar, I wish everybody a very happy World Amateur Radio Day 2022. Today, we have a very special person with us, Major General Manoj Kumar Bindal. So, at first, I would like to introduce him. He is the former Executive Director, National Institute of Disaster Management, up to January 2022. With a leadership experience in communicating complex crisis management strategies and procedures, procedures to professional and non-professional audiences. He is skilled in identifying hazards and designing activities to ensure timely project completion and dynamic in making quick decisions as disaster change and develop rapidly. He is proficient in conducting and steering national and international seminars and joint working groups. He is commissioned into the Corps of Army Air Defense in December 1985. During his more than 3 decades of service, he has held important command and staff assignments. He was General Officer Commanding of Sensitive Sub-Area in the Northeast, wherein looked after operational equipment deployed in operations in the field, management of logistics and administrative functions of the units deployed in the Northeast Asia. He's also been posted as Deputy Director General in Decorated of Army Air Defense, where he was dealing with operations, training, air defense control and reporting, and air intelligence issues. As a weapons and equipment expert, he specialized in managing complete lifestyle, training and deployment of all Army air defense radars, surface-to-air missiles, anti-aircraft guns, communication equipment, specialist vehicles, and small arms. He has attended all important and advanced professional courses like Higher Command, Staff Course, Missile Course, etc. And as Director of Center for United Nations Peacekeeping, he was responsible for training and administration of United Nations peacekeeping contingents, including foreign affairs and in India and abroad. He has authored number of books and research papers on the subject related to disaster management, climate change, and environment. He is an advisor to Gyan Disha Foundation. Team Oscar is honored to have him here today. So now I would like to over to Neil sir to say something.
Roger on that, Nandini. Very good evening, sir. We are really honored to have you in Oscar webinar. Uh, Before starting today's session, I will like to seriously apologize to all who are facing technical issues. I don't know what kind of issues, but I have received so many messages via WhatsApp that joining issues are there. But I don't know. It's the issue of Google Meet, not Oscar actually. So before we proceed with today's webinar and before over to sir, I would like to say something about Oscar that we are running Oscar from 2020 actually via online. Before that, 5 years we were just promoting amateur radio in locally actually in our states. But as COVID came, we had to go online, and from then Oscar is going on till today. And from 2020, right now 2022, uh, previously Oscar's name was open source webinar on amateur radio, and after that right now it is open source classes for amateur radio actually. And there is a little bit confusion among all that uh, Oscar is the satellite also for amateurs. So this is not the satellite actually. This is the abbreviation of Oscar, that open source classes for amateur radio. Uh, Under the training program of Oscar, we have already trained uh, more than thousands of students, but few get the license actually because of many reasons. Even according to our database and the database we received from WPC, that is in from 2020 to 2022, Wireless Planning Coordination Wing provide 700 something license to amateurs, and among them there are 300 above students from Oscar. So this is a little achievement of Oscar, and it's a open source classes. We never say that free actually, because nothing have to purchase here to get the free one. So it's completely open source. It was open source, it is open source, and it will be open source. But I will continue with another question and answer. But before that, I will not take much time. I would like to over directly to Major General Manoj Kumar Bindal, sir. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much, Nilkant, for that introduction, and Ms. Nandini for reading my biodata. It is a great honor for me to be here talking on the World Amateur Day, Radio Day, on the theme of celebrating amateur radio contribution to society. Because somehow the role of amateur radio is not yet fully realized by many people. I have seen it personally in various responses where I have been involved in my uh, life, where we have used amateur radio to a great extent, especially in areas which are inaccessible. Uh, so I thank Oscar, the AISMIT, and the Smart Future Foundation for conducting this webinar today and drawing lessons from it, which will pave the way to make the Oscar program more lucrative and more useful, so that instead of 300 out of 700, it should become 700 out of 700 people. Everyone comes to Oscar for getting the radio license. Today, we are aware that disasters are increasing day by day. The intensity is increasing. And more importantly, today disasters are reaching areas which are not known to be disaster prone. So it is reaching new areas where we did not anticipate a disaster to occur. And hence, there are no structured mechanism for those areas which are inaccessible or not thought of as vulnerable. So there are a lot of gaps which come up when a disaster strikes a new area which has not been covered in the disaster vulnerability mapping. And that is where the amateur radio plays a very big role, because the moment you don't have a structured mechanism in place, amateur radio is there to fill that gap. They are the ones who are capable of going to all possible areas. They are not restricted to a road. They are not restricted to anything. It is just the commitment of the person who's going, and the zeal with which he wants to carry out the task. And they can reach any geographical area possible. So that is a strong point of amateur radio community which needs to be exploited at all times. But many times I have also seen that it has not been exploited due to many reasons. Uh, I will not put the blame on one agency. Many a times the amateur radio experts who come with their equipment do not know what to do. So that type of training needs to be done for them. We also have a lack of expertise, lack of understanding. Then many a times the people with whom they're supposed to interact, both community and the various stakeholders, do not know how to respond to a amateur radio team which has come there, how to bring them to good use. So this type of lack of knowledge and awareness does not allow the full potential of the team to be exploited. Today, amateur radio teams should be considered as social media warriors, because today, through various social media warriors, they become disaster warriors. And for that, good amount of training needs to be done. There's a training on communication aspects, which is for getting the license. And there is a training for the utility of that license. I'm talking about the utility of the license. A Oscar program will get you a license, but then after what? Thereafter, you have to make yourself relevant to the society. You have to make yourself relevant to the various organizations which are working there, whether it be government, NGOs, relief organizations, rescue organizations, that they take you on board. And for that, there are certain things which a disaster amateur radio team must equip themselves with. And that is knowledge of disaster management. They must understand how a disaster management cycle works, what happens, who all are responsible, and where they can fit in. Going blindly into a disaster area with a radio set and expecting someone to just connect with you will be a wrong approach. We have to make ourselves relevant to them with our knowledge, with our proposal. Okay, I will connect you to so and so. Simple things that a team is going and they do not have satellite communication network with them. You can just tell them, okay, I'll provide you communication all along. They will willingly take you on their board, because then they'll be able to connect with their bigger organization, and reporting that feedback mechanism will go on properly. And in that, the team also starts reporting on the scenario there. So understanding the disaster issues, understanding what to look for, how to assess the vulnerabilities at different stages of disaster, and what not to report, who to connect to, uh, and is very, very important. And that requires training on disaster management issues other than getting the license. Uh, the credibility of the amateur radio team is very, very important. So everything they speak should be based on truth and ground realities, which can be corroborated by anyone from any other source. One single reporting which is not based on ground reality will offset all the good work which has been done so far. So that is very important, that to get a cheap popularity at that point of time, or to favor someone, or to do anything for any other reason, no untrue event should be reported, or no event should be reported in such a way that it does not bring out the actual facts. It twists the facts. No. Awareness generation is a very, very important issue. What are the safety measures to be taken? Uh, so now, to tell about the safety measures, the team themselves have to be aware of the safety measures. And hence, I think Oscar is, as part of their second plan, that after people have got their licenses, can conduct uh, classes, open source classes on how to connect or how to empower a licensed team to understand disasters and make themselves relevant. Early warning dissemination system, very, very important. At areas where there are connectivity is low, disaster management teams are not able to reach in time, and that is the time where the amateur radio experts can reach there, and through their network start giving them the early warning and ensure that unnecessary panic is not there, and also minimize false reporting. Now it's a time where amateur radio should look for combining technology. What I mean by this is that combining the radio technology with the social media. So there has to be a proper structure in every place where whatever is being reported by the amateur radio team is received by another team, and then it is put on the social media platforms. It is pushed to the public in various formats, because not everyone has got access to a amateur radio or a ham radio or a community radio. At some point of time, I'm combining even community radio in this. So at some point of time, it has to be put on social media, because today we have seen that social media like Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, Telegram are very, very active. WhatsApp, very, very active. We have seen how it happened in the COVID. All those who did not get on board with the WhatsApp applications, they lost the battle. And all those who embraced the technology, they could be heard, they could do well. So I think at some place, the structures that are being made by the various amateur radio organizations should have a small cell which connects the inputs from the amateur radio into a social media platform, and vice versa. It is very important that any event reported should be followed up till it is completed, in whichever way, and that will bring about credibility. that will bring about that people will start trusting that particular team, and they will be heard both by the rescue and relief organizations and by the community. One of the major things which I found where the disaster amateur radio teams were found lacking was they had no connect with the structures in place, because they only get activated when there is a disaster. Rest of the time, they do not get a place in any of the meetings. So I think state-wise teams and state-wise organizations which are there should get into regular touch with the DDMAs, with the SDMAs, and make themselves as part of the distribution list of theirs whenever anything happens, and when they start issuing any sort of bulletin, the amateur radio organization of that state, which should come under one umbrella, should be part of the distribution list. And the moment that happens, then things will start falling in place, because there are so many tabletop exercises being done, so many meetings take place, so many mock drills are carried out. Amateur radio should be part of that. The team should be part of that. One of the major things which we found amateur radio helped out during, I remember in Kashmir floods of 2014, Bhuj earthquake of 2001, was facilitated communication among the affected people, their relatives and friends, and gave such a good amount of psychosocial support, because everyone was keen to understand what has happened. Is my son safe? Is my daughter safe? Or so and so relative is safe or not? And they had no way of understanding. And the disaster management team, these amateur radio teams which came there, they started facilitating that by making them talk to each other. And that was such a big hit at that time in Bhuj, I remember, especially for the first few days, that there was a long queue outside the kiosk, not a kiosk, I'll say, just that teams were sitting in some shade of a tree to connect to various other teams which are deployed in far-flung places and connecting them to their families. So psychosocial support and care is a very big thing which the disaster management teams can, the amateur radio disaster management teams can conduct. So here I will finish with a small talk, because I'm keen to hear to others and understand what is the scope also after this. But suffice today that you should call yourself amateur radio warriors or social media warriors, or disaster warriors in real sense, and prepare accordingly after taking the license. Thank you, and back to you, Neelkant.
Roger on that, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Actually, you mentioned all the field actually which should be mentioned, and you are the best person in this field. So I will request everyone, if you have any question, please do ask in chat box, and do not WhatsApp me right now, because I'm handling WhatsApp and Meet from the same phone. So it's a issue. So you people can please, if you have question, you can unmute yourself and then ask question, and or you can write it in the chat box. So already, sir, we have few questions regarding training program in disaster, and also I would like to share one of my experience that Amphan last year. So during the time of Amphan, along with my few team members, I went there uh, to support actually. But after that, what we exactly realized that after a super cyclone like Amphan, a novice communication builder like us actually cannot do anything, and it's a fact. And if we would like to, it can be more danger for our life if we would go beyond our capacity actually. So in that time we realize that literally the proper knowledge, how during the time of disaster we should act, is very much necessary. जब से हम लोगों को लाइसेंस मिलता है उसके पहले हम लोग इतना काम कर चुके होते हैं एंटेना बिल्डिंग के ऊपर, एंड एवरीथिंग. सो कम्युनिकेशन इज सिंगल लाइन फॉर अस, बट डिजास्टर के टाइम लाइक जैसे कोविड भी चल रहा था उस टाइम जाके काम करना, उसके लिए अनदर लेवल ऑफ एक्सपर्टाइज वाज नीडेड, जो एनडीआरएफ के पास था हम लोगों के पास नहीं था एकदम. लेकिन व्हाट वी एग्जैक्टली फील के कम्युनिटी लेवल डेवलपमेंट अगर हो सकता है तो और भी ज्यादा आसान हो जाता है कि इस तरह का काम के लिए. सो दैट्स अ लिटिल बिट इनपुट व्हाट वी एग्जैक्टली सर रियलाइज ड्यूरिंग द टाइम ऑफ Amphan. Actually there is a question I think in chat box and few question in my WhatsApp.
Whatever questions you have in your WhatsApp, kindly paste them in the chat box.
Okay,
I,
it will be.
See, today what NDMA has done is they have gone in for a project known as Abda Mitra, wherein from each district a certain number of people are being trained to act as disaster warriors, as disaster friends, and they are being kitted with some basic kit, and they are also being given a particular mobile number. Uh, they'll be given a mobile number, and they will be.
I will request, sir, once again, I will request everyone, please put your mic and camera off. So if you put your camera off, it will save your data, and please put your mic off, it will save others' data. So it create noise. So please put your mic off. If you have any question, please unmute and then ask. Else then please put your mic off. Sir, please continue. Over, sir.
So what I was saying is, so NDMA has got a program of involving the amateur radio, community radio, and in which Abda Mitras are being trained in each district. So that's what I said in the beginning, that the state-wise structures that you have today of amateur radio should have a small component which interacts with the SDMAs and DDMAs. Because NDMA interacts through SDMA, State Disaster Management Authority, and District Disaster Management Authority, and hence the amateur radio teams should also interact with them to get on board. Now, designing, you spoke about designing of antenna and other things. Those are technical details. I'm not talking about technical details. To get a license, you have to be technically good. To operate a radio set, you have to be technically good. There is no two ways about that. There is no one who can help you in any way in that case. You have to make yourself I'll say equipped yourself in such a way that you are able to handle your technical part of the process yourself very well. In that, do not expect any help from others. If you have got a license and you have got a set and you have to go and deploy somewhere, it is the duty of that person to go and deploy properly. And that doing it once in a blue moon will not help. So there should be regular mock drills at every level, where the various license holders are moved out without notice, and they set up a system there. So maintenance of the equipment, charging, carrying additional batteries, carrying other solar panels, they all should be part of the kit. No one is going to provide you any sort of equipment during a disaster because they have not catered for your equipment. They will only welcome you if you come to them as a help and not as a liability. By going to them and asking from them some sort of equipment is the person becomes a liability. Yes, first we have to become useful to them, and in that bargain, if we want a charging point which they have already established to charge our equipment, they will readily give. But if we go them in the first case itself asking for a charging point without showing our utility, no one is going to accept that, because at that point of time the resources are at a premium, and battery charging is one of the most important issues because everyone is working on non-electric mode that time. So keeping yourself ready for such uh, contingencies is the responsibility of the license holder, and for that you have to equip yourself if you want to be relevant to the organization. So for that, some question was there. uh, I'm just reading the question.
There is a question, sir. I'm reading from Srinivas, sir. Sir, does NDMA have amateur radio in sight, and also if NDMA and NIDM any SOP for integration of amateur radio?
See, it is mentioned in the documents that amateur radio to be used, but there is no proper SOP in sight as of now. But NIDM has conducted training on this issue many a times, and earlier NIDM had also facilitated licenses also, but right now that program is closed. But Professor Surya Prakash of NIDM, whose reference you'll find on the website, is in charge of this particular center which looks after amateur radio, and it will be a good idea for the organization to approach him via email and call. So his email ID and telephone number is given on the website, and my reference can be taken. I'll also be happy to be part of the whole thing to establish the connection. Uh, Now, Indian school curriculum. In Indian school curriculum, ham radio is being taught to a certain extent, but my question is, how much can be taught in a school? Uh, Today already disaster is being taught, in which they can only give reference that this is also one more facility which exists as one of the medias for communication during disasters. But they cannot cover this thing in detail because there's so much of disaster to be covered by them, in which this is one small part of it. Propagating amateur radio will be the responsibility of the amateur radio clubs in themselves, and conducting such webinars, conducting it and post, also connecting it to YouTube. Like today, I don't think this is going on YouTube. Is it going on YouTube, Neelkant?
Sir, it is recording right now, and the
Ah,
recording version will be on YouTube.
no, I'm saying live. So such programs, once they go live and through social media, we start generating more and more interest as to how it can be used. And every day, all those who have been into the disaster, the teams actually, they are invited to come up on such platforms and tell what they did and what problems they faced and how they circumvented it, will be a good lesson by itself. So we would know exactly what to target and where to target. But at the government level, it is a media, one more media to be utilized, but its importance is understood, but somehow due to various reasons, it is not being exploited to the optimum use. Now, someone has written, I'm a student of third year working with different disaster management group, but still during the time of Foki, I was feeling helpless, and I realized proper training in the field of disaster is necessary. How can I get help from NIDM? Similarly, the
I
second
think
one
it should be
also
funny. I think it should be funny. I think.
phony. And
I
similarly,
think
we
that.
are a group of students who like to take special training so that we can support our community during disasters. So NITM has large number of free programs which are going on everyday basis. If you open NITM training portal, you should join that. Secondly, uh, uh, NIDM does not charge. That is the best part of it, and it's everything is free. So all the disaster license holders should uh, be part of these programs. Also, there is a self-study portal of NIDM in the e-learning SSP portal where you can understand disasters by reading through it. Then there's a online certificate programs which are paid, of course, which you can go through and understand disasters in great sense. Plus, NIDM has the capacity to conduct special programs only for the amateur radio people, a 1 week or 3 days program to teach the people and give them the certificate. So that's what I was saying, that for that you must approach the NIDM. Neil, you can talk to me separately. I'll tell you how to go about it.
Su- Surely, sir.
Now, handheld sets are allowed by air traffic with passenger. Nowhere handheld set which has got a battery other than a mobile is allowed. You have to take special permissions, or you have to book it through the special provisions, which is due to that is a safety concern of the aircraft, and hence that will depend. During disasters, certain uh, relaxations are there, which should be used at that point of time, but not on a everyday basis that it can be done. The training to newly licensed operators in DM, no, there is no such programs of NIDM especially, or that I know of. But we can, Neil, some such programs can be done on your platform also, where we can get some. One is with an IDM, one is without an IDM also. Like you're conducting Oscar on your own. Similarly, such programs can be conducted.
Hello,
Ha ha.
uh, sir. This is Avdesh. Very good evening,
How
and
are you,
always
Abdesh?
I am fine, sir. I am all blessings and great. Always great to hear you. And Neil and I think Arup Dhar sir भी यहाँ पर होंगे. So, with all permission, I would like to say something because I got the opportunity to work as a on part of a university with an IDM from the recent year. And एक चीज बोलना चाहूँगा कि जो अभी कोविड आया, in COVID, there was another synonym of it, that was infodemic, right? So it was an infodemic declared by the United Nations, and the main reason was the communication there. और एक और चीज अगर इंडिया में अभी ऑब्जर्व किए सर, आपसे बहुत सारे क्वेश्चन एनआईडीएम से हुए हैं, अभी भी होते हैं और आगे भी होते रहेंगे, बिकॉज अगर आप एनआईडीएम का एक मैं देख रहा था डेटा, सो जब से इस्टेब्लिश हुआ तो उसके बाद में जब COVID-19 आया, यू वाज हेडिंग दैट द एनआईडीएम दैट टाइम. So in the 1920, 21, which were the crucial year by the pandemic point of view, I think this is the organization where the data is going to the new heights in terms of the publication, in terms of the programs conducted all around across the country, and in terms of the association, where the Invertis University from where I belong also got the opportunity to associate with the NIDM. So here we also got the opportunity under your guidance and Professor Gupta sir and all the NIDM faculties and in guidance over VC sir. So we also conducted lots of programs on communications there, sir. तो आपको याद होगा सर, एक इमरजेंसी कम्युनिकेशन की बात आपने उठाई थी, इमरजेंसी सपोर्ट फंक्शनरी की बात बोली थी, जो इस देश के अंदर बहुत बड़ी प्रॉब्लम बन जाती है जब कभी कोई आपदा आती है, जैसे केदारनाथ की. और अभी जैसे नील भी बात कर रहे थे कि एम्फन के अंदर या फिर एक जो कम्युनिकेशन, तो एक फेल सेफ कम्युनिकेशन नेटवर्क को बनाना एक बहुत बड़ी जिम्मेदारी हो जाती है. तो इसमें एमेचर रेडियो का बड़ा इंपॉर्टेंट रोल जो आपने बताया सर, इट शुड बी गो टू द पर्सन हु इज स्टैंडिंग इन द लास्ट पोजीशन ऑफ ए लाइन, बिकॉज एमेचर रेडियो की जब बात होती है तो शायद कुछ बहुत कम लोग इसको जान पाते हैं, इस बारे में सुन पाते हैं. So it should be spread in all the direction. With the all due respect, I would like to submit this point with this August gathering. So this is my submission from my end, and very always learning opportunity. Whenever I hear you, I was returning from my university, but when I see that your program is is scheduled at 7, so I quickly connect. And thanks to Arup Dhar and all team of the Oscar for this, for providing the opportunity to hear sir again. Thank you so much. Over to you, Neil ji.
Thank you, thank you. It's seriously uh, मैं भी जब पहले एनआईडीएम का प्रोग्राम अटेंड करता था एंड ड्यूरिंग द टाइम ऑफ कोविड बेसिकली, तो सर का जब सेशन रहता था मैं भी सुनने के लिए बैठ जाता था कहीं पे भी. So if there is any question from anyone, I think is there any question in chat box?
Yes, sir. I have a question.
So I also have a question, please.
Okay, can I continue?
Okay, please one by one.
Okay, sir. My name is Rahul. Actually, I am an associate NCC officer of GC School, Punjab. Okay. Basically, I am a Kerala native, so I have a question related to the getting of license. Can you hear me?
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay, okay. Thank you so much, sir. Once again, very good evening to all. So my question is that actually, I in 2014 I cleared the ACOC examinations. I cleared the exam, passed that restricted license, but unfortunately, I couldn't apply for that because of my higher studies and everything. So right now, I tried for it. So I recently know that its payment portion is only lefting. So I recently get to know that the payment methods are changed. Right in that time it was offline method, but right now it is an online. But I several time I tried because I can't do that thing. So anybody can know anything about how to do these things and any other option is there other than online method?
Okay, surely. Please do one thing. Open a account in sarulsansar.gov.in.
Okay,
I will request Nandini to share the link here.
okay,
sarulsansar.gov.in. Open your account there, fine. And there is an option by the name Help Desk, fine. So
okay,
please raise a ticket in Help Desk and wait for 3 to 4 days. If you are not getting any answer, I'm sharing email ID also here of
okay,
WPC Wing. So please,
okay,
yes, Rahul has already shared the link here. So after that, you can directly mail to them. And
mm-hmm.
WPC is right now very much active, so they will surely answer you. And
Okay,
what you have to do, you have to submit your result as per the guideline of WPC right now, because right now everything is online after
okay,
2020, and
okay,
especially after 1st March of 2022, everything is online. 1st
okay,
मार्च को पेमेंट गेटवे इंटीग्रेट किया गया है डब्ल्यूपीसी की ओर से, तो एंड वो लोग एक डब्ल्यूपीसी की तरफ से एक ओएम भी डिक्लेयर किया गया, वेबसाइट में जाएंगे तो आपको दिखाई पड़ेगा कि
mm,
दैट इज ओनली ऑनलाइन पेमेंट मेथड इज एक्सेप्टेबल, ऑनलाइन पेमेंट इज
okay,
एक्सेप्टेबल, अदर पेमेंट मेथड इज नॉट. So
okay,
please first create your account, raise a
okay.
ticket there, wait for 7 days. If you are not getting any answer there, I'm sharing the email ID here also.
Yeah, I see
Please do
that.
write there. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
please do write your all the details. Within 1 week maximum, you can surely get answer from WPC.
Okay, thank you so much, sir.
Okay. Right now, only WPC can help you. No
Okay,
any
thank
other
you, sir.
organization.
Okay, okay, okay.
Okay. So please next, please ask.
Good,
Yes, yes. Please go ahead.
good, good evening, Manoj sir. It has been very fortunate to get you today in the rare opportunity, and I am one of your religious follower from northeast part of India, that is Tripura. My name is Ambassador Arup, and I am also the state coordinator for Oscar for Tripura. So delighted to have you here because many times we have a lot of questions. So constraint of time we could not make, but thanks to Oscar for providing us this opportunity to have you here today. Sir, I have a particular question regarding to the Prime Minister and agenda, as we are on very close to the document that has been published. So, concerned with the item number five, item number five, as you were talking on the early warning technology and efficiency of disaster management efforts. So, to be very honest with you, the place where I am located is in the northeast part of India, and we have a serious network connectivity issue. Just now, I am 5 kilometers away on a hilltop and just talking to you sitting in a dark, you know. So we often, because we are very close to the international border, and since Tripura itself, we suffer multi-disaster incident. We have landslide, we have hailstorm, we have thundering, and also we are very prone to earthquake. So, as a community leader, where we are working in the community, and since the pandemic, we had risked our life going outside. Hospital was closed. We sanitized, and next day the hospital was opened. The police personnel, entire police station was sanitized because they all were tested positive. But once all the training that are been taken place, and everything, but there is no any utility either from the DDMA. Sometimes we go and we speak with them. We are trained. We have our certificates. Please utilize us. So their response are not that much good because they were asking they don't have any database for us. So why don't we make a database and it should be forwarded to all the districts of the state so that they can calculate and they utilization of the volunteer. Since we are working in the community, we have our lot of
I think connection issue. Unable to listen.
Am I audible now?
We
Right.
heard till that
Am I audible?
database should be made and given to all the districts thereafter.
So by that way, we can engage our community people because we are part of the community and we are the first responder. Training itself is very much necessary. Either it may be on online or face-to-face training, but wherever we see there is a story, there is lack of fund. But to be very honest with you, there is sufficiency of funds for the capacity building training program so that we get good number of training and we can come and do something safe in our community because we don't want to leave anyone behind. That is the message all time in the classes you refer because we have to take each and everyone carry forward. So this is one of the gaps that we feel here. So if you could shed your light on this, please.
Yeah, you are very right. If you see in my talk also I gave that one of the biggest gaps is even after a amateur team, a radio team reaches the location, the people who are receiving them many times are not aware as to how best to utilize them. And that is why peacetime connections are very important. Peacetime, I'm talking about non-disaster time. The connections are very important. Tirupura is a very progressive state as far as disaster management related issues are concerned. Their TDMA is very well advanced. NIDM has been doing large number of programs with the Tripura Disaster Management Authority, and hence the organization ATDRVA the should go and meet the member of the Tripura Disaster Management Authority and explain how they can be useful and why they should be involved. I think Neelkant, maybe you can, with all the members, can make a presentation
Sure.
so that everyone can use that as to how it can be used. And in that, various case studies, a small one slide on various case studies with photographs of actual usage of such teams, whichever has happened. After putting it at, that will bring into focus that yes, this is a resource which needs to be used. Today, this knowledge gap needs to be breached, wherein the various stakeholders who are going to use this resource, amateur radio resource, should be made aware in advance and that they are available and they are readily available and they should be taken on board. So I think you should get on to project with their organizations with various states that you have and come out with a common presentation, and some of it will be state specific. For example, we just had the gentleman from Tirupura talking. So some examples will be only of Tirupura where they can understand the examples better, but otherwise various other places also. And such presentation should be given to the TDMAs, to the district disaster management authorities from time to time. And it has to be a relentless affair. It should not be just once we have gone and you have not got the correct response, so you stop doing it. No, this is something which is breaking the ice that we say. It will take time. It will take time and it will require a lot of persuasion. It will require a lot of zeal. And so this we have to keep at it. Only thing we can empower each other, and connecting it to disasters is very important. So you have to start talking the disaster management language when you talk to the disaster management authorities at various level. They understand only if you can connect this media with disaster management by talking the correct words, correct sentences. So that is what you have to do. And hence, I think side by side, for all those who have got the licenses, you should start training on disaster management related issues as to how they can be useful, various terms and conditions, what they should do, what are the questions they need to ask. And in that, I think I can help Dr. Abdesh, who was here, a very energetic professor from Invertis. I think he'll also be on board, and many others who want to give to the community, give back to the community, will be there to help you out. I think you should plan that so that you
Surely,
get
sir.
out of the topic of antennas and radio sets and start talking of disasters. You don't, if you start giving problems to anyone, they'll not listen to you. You have to give them solutions as to what you can do, how you can help. And that presentation, I think you should make a concept paper and a presentation, which every one of them, every state should start, every district should start showing it to the respective counterparts. In this, even the NGOs can be taken on board. If you find out which are the major NGOs working in that area, they also have their teams which go into remote places without communication. They'll be very, very keen to take you on board and carry you with them. And that is how you start reaching out. So it has to be small, small steps which you have to start doing, in which a lot of sacrifice will also be required.
Surely, sir. In this matter, we will definitely need your guidance, and we will definitely start preparing, as you have said, about the presentation. And it is really required. Uh, is there any? Okay, there is a question. WPC should publish VU amateur
Well,
radio
mine,
database to. Okay,
No, that's not a question.
Sad Umar Farooq, sir.
yes.
WPC.
Good evening, my family members. I am Dr. Saad Umar Farouk from Nigeria. I've been
Good evening.
following the mind-blowing lectures, especially on amateur radio. Though in this part of my world, we are not so conversant with it, but actually it's a global thing. So I've been trying to see how I can key in and also get the knowledge in respect of this amateur radio, because the communication, especially where our network stability is not certain, and disaster can strike anywhere, anytime. And disaster management is everyone's concern, irrespective of your background. So the essence of these lectures, I think, cannot be overemphasized. I don't have any question, but I really want to extend my appreciation to the organizers, especially to the general, for sharing his knowledge, because I have learned one new thing. The amateur radio can be linked to the social media platform for faster dissemination of information, which is a very good a good take home for me, at least. Even if I don't have the ability of using the amateur radio in my place, I can use the live social media platform in order to disseminate information. And as you have rightly said, amateur radio is a means of communication, but you must have knowledge of what you will communicate. That is the disaster management cycle. Thank you very, very much, and God bless you all.
Thank you, Omar Farooq, sir. Thank you. What was in okay? WPC should publish VU amateur radio data. Actually, WPC is doing so many work. As there was previously, there was physical application required. Right now, everything is online. So WPC is working. I think near future everything will be online. So we have to keep patience. WPC is working in a proper manner. And from 2020, lots of changes make amateurs life really very easy, and all those very changes made by the WPC. So we have very few time left actually. Already 7:50 is there. So if there is any question by anyone, please go ahead.
Hello, sir. Good evening.
Please go
Sir,
ahead.
as I am a student, uh, am I audible?
Yeah, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Sir, as I am a student of mass media, I have to visit different places and also have to cover different issues. During Amphan cyclone, I have seen NDRF had done a commendable job, and also have seen few amateurs who truly didn't do anything. But unfortunately, different mainstream media, as well as print media, circulate newses about that particular amateur radio group. That time, I realized community level development in the field of communication is very much needed. So, so what is Oscar's planning? Sir, if you want, I can take the name of that particular amateur radio group who didn't do anything, as well as print media circulate also.
Polomi, which team you belong to? Disaster management or media? I'm unable to understand. Am I
Sorry,
audible?
sir.
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Okay,
Please.
I'm asking you which team you belong to. मतलब first of all you mention के आप किसी student हो and आपको कुछ experience हुआ. यहाँ पे internet connection के वजह से मैं पूरा सुन नहीं पाया. So are you belongs to media or media mass communication or disaster management?
No, no, sir. I am a student of mass media.
Okay, okay. तो एक्चुअली जो आपने बोला कि कुछ एमेचर रेडियो ग्रुप जो काम नहीं किए थे उसके बावजूद भी मेन स्ट्रीम मीडिया कवर किए तो एक्चुअली मीडिया क्या कर रहा है वी कैन नॉट रेस्ट्रिक्ट देम फाइन एंड एमेचर ग्रुप भी क्या कर रहा है वी कैन नॉट रेस्ट्रिक्ट देम बट यस एज यू हैव ऑलरेडी heard and throughout this meeting we sir have also mentioned several times that community level development is required and we team Oscar is also planning and especially I belongs to Kolkata so I have seen Amphan and previously before Amphan there was Fani in Odisha. I also experienced so many things so we have to keep negative things aside and Oscar is planning to develop community एंड ताकि मतलब एकदम ग्रास रूट लेवल में जाके ये एमएसए रेडियो डेवलपमेंट हो सके कम्युनिटी में एंड ड्यूरिंग एनी डिजास्टर सो दैट दे कैन build own communication system and yes as you have said कि सुंदरबन में मतलब आम्फान हुआ था उस टाइम एनडीआरएफ has done a commendable job अगर एनडीआरएफ नहीं होता तो बहुत कुछ मतलब बहुत कैजुअलिटीज हो सकता था लेकिन नहीं हुआ तो मीडिया क्या कर रहा है वी कैन नॉट स्टॉप मीडिया टू डू and other team क्या कर रहा है we also cannot stop them to do what Oscar is doing it's open source platform and after from the very next month we are planning to build new model uh, new open source model actually to train in different manner in the field of communication actually so that's it from my end.
Polomi said was her experience and she is entitled to her experience and her ideas, but I will only request that the amateur radio teams, like I said, credibility, reliability, truthful reporting, ground realities reporting is the mantra, and that should be followed. If it is not being followed, then we are not serving the society. We are failing our role for which we got this license for, and hence it should be all of us should endeavor to ensure that we reach the last mile connectivity, which was brought about community development. She spoke about a very, very important issue. Anil, you also spoke about reaching the community. That last mile connectivity is the main main task of the amateur radio, and that should be fulfilled. And amateur radio teams should be ready to keep relocating. When a disaster occurs, what happens? Everything breaks down, and slowly, like a carpet is rolled out, the uh, communication starts getting rolling out, temporary communications, and it starts from a particular position in various points all over. It starts rolling outwards, and so these teams should also move outwards. If they stick to that position, within no time they will lose their relevance, because they're not required. If there's alternate communication is available, then they are not required thereafter. So they have to keep finding locations where the communication has not reached, and start reporting from there, start connecting the community with the rescuers, with the responders, with the relief providers, with the various stakeholders. And hence this dynamism in the mind of the radio operator is very important. And everyone has to do their own job. If someone has not done it, that should not bog us down. That should not be playing on our mind. That is his destiny. Today they might have got away with it, tomorrow they might not get away with it. But we should be firm in our belief that if we do the right thing, if we do it with commitment, with zeal, everything will fall in place, and we would be satisfied and content at the end of it that we have done our best in whatever capacity we were. That's what I would like to say to that.
And Neil sir.
Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
Hello.
Yes, yes.
Sir, and very correct, Bindal sir. Again, you very rightly explained that I am totally agree, and thank you for mentioning my name about so that I can be instrumental in developing this capacity associated with the amateur radio and the people who are associated with this. And one thing I like very much that you said that come with the solution, not with the problem. With a problem everywhere, so it is very difficult to sort out the problem, because the people who are sitting there, maybe they genuinely not know about the real ground condition. So along with the solution, if we go there, so there are high chances that the problem is going to sort out or solve. So rightly mentioned, sir. And one thing I would like to add here, that already NDMA's National Disaster Management Plan, NDMP 2019, that was released in November, I think. So there was a detailed responsibility framework was regarding preparedness and response was included in that plan. Unfortunately, sir, बड़ा एक रोचक कहें या इसको अनफॉर्चुनेट कहें कि जब नवंबर 2019 में एनडीएमपी लागू हुआ, उसके बाद 2020 में हमारा आमना सामना कोविड-19 जैसी अनप्रेसिडेंटेड क्राइसिस से हो गया, एंड we got a lots of loopholes in that plan, because it was a situation that was even difficult for the countries who we said that have a very developed plan and lots of resources they have. So even the systems or disaster management system in those countries got collapsed. So obviously that it was a new experience for our NDMP 19 as well. So there is a guidelines. I remember that because it was a part of our program with NIDM. So there was about preparing and update and maintain a statewide list of amateur ham operators who could contacted and deployed at the site of emergency when all other modes of communication fails. And this type of situation, because India is a country with a multi-hazard scenario. So not a single disaster is the problem of our country, but we have seen in the recent part that lots of disasters become a multi-hazard scenario. So it is very difficult to deal with a single approach. That's why we need a multi-disaster management approach mindset and solution-oriented enthusiast people, and also the machinery as well. So this is very important part, because if the communication collapse, remember that if we are roaming in any city and we forget the language, or we don't know the language, or we are not able to communicate with those people, so obviously things become very difficult for us. Even the language of our mobile phone, smartphone we call it, so if the language of our smartphone got changed for a few minutes, so we are not able to understand the instruction on the phone, So obviously communication is a very important part in that, in this situation. So for this, as I mentioned in when I was previously speaking, I was connected yesterday, sir, with Oscar. So they are running a very good program, open source program for making the people aware about the amateur radio and taking the license for that. So I mentioned a quote of Nikola Tesla for that. And I would like to requote here that he said that he was a scientist with far ahead mindset. So he said that when wireless is perfectly applied, the whole earth will be converted into the huge brain, which in fact it all things being particles of real and rhythmic whole, we shall be able to communicate with one another instantly irrespective of distance. हो सकता है कोई आइडिया मेरे माइंड में ना आए, हो सकता है कोई आइडिया आपके माइंड में ना आए, हो सकता है कोई आइडिया नॉर्थ ईस्ट में ना आए, पंजाब में ना आए, या कश्मीर में ना आए, या हो सकता है अंडमान निकोबार में कोई बैठा उसके पास. लेकिन अगर कलेक्टिव ब्रेन की तरह हम लोग सोचेंगे, और रेडियो एमएचआर रेडियो बहुत बड़ा मीडिया है उसका, then we have the high probability that we go for a constructive solution that is feasible as well for the community, because it is directly connected with the community. So this was my one more input with your inspiration, sir, as you said that come with the solution, don't go always with the problem. So we should be solution oriented, and our problem is going to sort out slowly. Obviously it will take time. Thank you. Over to you.
Roger, on that, absolutely right. Sir mentioned the problem in a right way, and as we team Oscar, I would like to inform sir two things, that we team Oscar has managed a website. So we have designed a proper database, and soon within next 7 or 10 days the site will be online, and here we are planning to manage all the data, all the amateur operators data who exactly would like to work for disaster throughout the country, so that during the any disaster time, anyone, any authorities, if we want, if anyone would like to address, or if anyone would like to communicate with others, they can find data from there and they can easily communicate with them. So sir, you can say that it's a kind of social media in the field of amateur radio. So we have managed this, and soon within next 10 to 15 days we are going to launch this. And as you have said, sir, that we should design a presentation in this manner, I will request you please guide us in a manner so that we can design a proper documentation, so that all the members throughout the India, because students in Oscar, different the students are from different parts of India, and they are from Siliguri also, they are from Kolkata also, they are from Tripura, Assam, Delhi, Mumbai, everywhere, 16 to 17 state I think properly, and other states is also there like Jammu. So I will request you to guide us, sir, in a manner so that we can design this, all those great things. And Oscar, at the end, I will not say much. I will say that Oscar was open source. It is open source and it will be open source. So not a membership required. Nothing is required. Just a Google form fill up required, because we have to send you the class link. And every Saturday we take classes without any fail, and time is 5 p.m. I think from next month it will become 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. actually. So day will remain same, and till now from last 2 years our link is remain same, and time is also remain same. So that's a single input, and already 8 बज चुका है. तो जिनका भी कुछ क्वेश्चन होगा, I will request everyone to please write mail to us, that is oscar.tsff@gmail.com, and sir has also shared sir email ID at the very beginning, and I will also share in group also. So if you have any question to sir, also can directly ask to sir also, no issue. So mail ID of Oscar is oscar.tsff@gmail.com. So please write to us. Already time cross हो चुका है 6 minutes. So ज़्यादा time sir के लिए नहीं लेंगे. At the end, I would like to over to sir, and after sir, we would like to conclude today's session. Over to sir.
Thank you so much, Neil, for conducting such a good program. and we had a lot of participation, and the questions were asked that itself showed the interest that people have and they want to do something. And I think you have made a good platform for everyone to come together and do good for the society. So I commend you and all the team members who are into this initiative. And I wish you all the best for your future endeavors. And whenever you require my help, do call me up. I'll be always there to help you out. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you every participant to join today. And again, I will at the end, I will like to conclude today's session by saying that please write to Oscar if you have any question. You can direct WhatsApp me. बट प्लीज मैं कहता हूँ कि कभी भी व्हाट्सएप कीजिए, लेकिन कल भी मैं रात 1:30 को 1:30 AM was there, so I received the call. So कभी भी कीजिए, लेकिन उतना रात बजे मत कीजिए, रात गए. So please write to me and write to us also if you have any question regarding training, regarding anything. So that's it from our end. Thank you for joining. Stay safe, stay healthy, wear a mask if required, use sanitizer if required. So that's the input from us. Thank you.
Thanks, Neil. Thanks.
Thank you so much from my end here. And